There are strange things out there that seem to have no explanation. Sometimes they are conjured up by the darkest corners of our subconscious, but on occasion they dwell beyond the confines of our imagination. They may come from another realm, or out of the sky, or from beyond the grave. Once they set foot into our world, the line between dreams and reality becomes unclear. It's our job to investigate these reports and compile the Virginia Paranormal Case Files.
Well, when we first moved in August of last year. Right away, my mother in her room started hearing like many different people at one time speaking at the same time in her room. And that's when I noticed out of the corner of my eye, right there in the hallway, that I could see a woman's head peeking around the corner. And I brushed it off thinking it was just my imagination maybe, but that seemed to go away for a long period of time. Little things here and there I brushed off, thinking, oh, it was just a shadow from the TV or the light, until the day I contacted you guys. I had just come home from work and this light wasn't on and that light in the corner was not on, and the sun was going down, so it was starting to get dark in here. And I was sitting right here looking at my cell phone, and all of a sudden the room got extremely bright. And right away I thought it was, oh, the light must have come on by itself. And I looked over in the corner and that light was not on. I knew this one wasn't on. But when I went to see if the light was on, right above the doorway next to the kitchen there was this luminescent bright light that I had never seen before. I mean, I compare it to putting your face right against a truck headlight. It was so bright, it lit up the whole room, even brighter than it is now. And what started out as a small image ended up being quite large, and I could see a woman that was wearing a crown, because there were different lights shimmering off of it, so it had to be made of gems or something. I saw her eyes, I saw her pupils, I saw her arms, I saw a bracelet on her arm, and I've never experienced something like that, ever. There's been strange feelings of being watched, to the point where I'll be lying on the couch at night watching TV, and all of a sudden it's in that area where the hallway is and where the bedroom door is. And I blow it off thinking, I'm just being crazy about it. Watch TV, but for some reason my eyes go right back to that spot as if someone is standing there. My dog has been acting very, very strange. He often at night will put his paws on the arm of the couch and will look into the kitchen and start barking. Nobody's there, nobody's at the door, but he's afraid to go in the kitchen. I'll put like leftover chicken on a plate and tell him, okay, he begs for it the whole time I'm eating it, and then I put it in there and he will not go in the kitchen. It's just a strange, I can't explain what I saw. But there's always been something, ever since we moved in, there's been a feeling of being watched. Even just a few days ago, I felt like I was being watched. And my mother said that in her room one night, she could not turn her back to the door. She felt like somebody was standing there watching her, and she was afraid to turn her back to the door. I mean, it's not just me, it's her, it's my dog, it's the things that I have actually caught on camera that make me think that it's something's got to be going on here.
So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to keep all our equipment out here in the car. It's not because of any dangers or anything with taking it inside, but a lot of times it seems when we go to a location, whatever's there tends to be very quiet. The people seem really credible that are giving the reports, but we go in and literally nothing happens. So we're going to try to keep the equipment in the car as an effort to not really let whatever's in there know what's coming next. We're going to keep the group small, have 3 people at a time go in, and we're going to start off with the baseline readings. One other benefit to keeping the equipment outside of the location is often spirits will drain batteries. So if we keep everything out here too, the batteries won't get drained as quick, perhaps. So we're going to start off with an EVP session in the living room here, and we're going to hit it for 5 minutes and then go outside and analyze it. Then they're going to come in, we're going to compare notes. All right, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
I'm Jack.
You could say your name too, just so we know everyone is here. And we'd like to know if there's anybody here with us. If there is, could you please tell us your name? We don't mean to impose by any means. We're not here to ask you to leave. We don't want to be here unwanted. We'd just like to know who you are.
Did you used to live in this house? When was that? Are you from this town or a different one? This hallway. From the bathroom down there.
What about the hallway?
Something walks back and forth in that hallway. It seems female.
Can you tell us if you're a male or a female?
How old are you? When you show up, do you show up as a woman in your 20s?
Do you stay in this house? Or do you leave at certain times? If you leave, where do you go? Were you here before this house was built?
Whose room is down the hallway on the left at the end?
Is that your mother's room down the hall on the left at the end?
No. That one is my children's playroom with the light on, but the door at the end there is where the mom is.
Yeah, that's her mother's room.
Or at the very end of the hall.
At the
but
very
not on
end.
the left.
No, yeah,
That's the children's playroom.
right.
It's not, your mom's room is straight down the hall?
Yes.
that closet on the left-hand side.
She said that she goes down the hallway towards the closet on the left-hand side.
I know why.
You do?
Before this house was here where it is now, my landlord lives right down the street, and I was talking to him about buying it. He said that he moved it here and jacked it up. That there used to be a kitchen right where the closet is that goes on the back, but it caught on fire. He doesn't know if anybody was hurt. But the kitchen where it is now was added on much later.
Okay. So that would explain it. 'Cause
And
it
I've
seems
had
like-
my own experiences with that hallway.
Really? Yeah, because it seems so strange that I see somebody going down and going in in the closet. You don't think of people walking into a closet, but that perfectly explains it then.
That's why we have such a larger deck out back.
So what was interesting while we were in there, I went in and did the initial interview, and the rest of the team stayed outside because we didn't want them to be biased at all. Sometimes if you hear that a certain area inside the house is haunted or has activity, when you walk into that room with that bias, you automatically sometimes get chills just because you know the reports of that room. So there's no bias here. But when we were in there doing the EVP session, Linda noticed, she said, I feel something right here near this hallway, and I feel that this is where this woman comes down this hallway. It was interesting because in the woman's interview, she mentioned someone peeking around the corner in the hallway. The hallway was one of the hot spots that the rest of the team is not aware of, so it was interesting that Linda pinpointed this, and given the history of the house where she said the kitchen burned, the kitchen caught on fire on the old house that stood here, and it was right where that closet was, right off to where that closet was. They don't know if anybody died in the fire. Kind of interesting.
So when I walked in, I could automatically feel sort of the energy or the movement down that hallway, specifically coming out of the utility room, and it felt like a rush, like somebody was rushing down the hallway and going, for some reason, toward what looked to me to be a closet with bifold doors. So, I couldn't figure out why somebody would be going into a closet. Of course, that doesn't really make much sense, but when the homeowner explained that there used to be a doorway there into a kitchen that burnt down, that made more sense. Perhaps what I was seeing was her rushing down the hallway because she smells the smoke, or she, found out that the kitchen was on fire, so she rushed down that hallway and in to see what was going on in the kitchen.
All right, so we walked in the house, and I don't know, I can't speak for everybody on this, but when we walked in the house, the intersection where everything comes together in the house, I started feeling like a little weird, like my chest got a little tight. But as soon as I walked in, I guess it's a little girl's room. As soon as you walked in there, as soon as I walked in there, I felt like the air changed, and it was very hard it was almost like breathing dense air. So that was really the only thing that I felt.
When I walked in the kitchen, I didn't get any reaction, but as I went through the living room, I took all the perimeter pictures in sequence, and as I approached the threshold of the middle of the house, before crossing the threshold from the living room to the hallway area, I got a sharp pain over my left eye. I felt pulled to the left and got nauseous to my stomach. So I proceeded to brush past that and go into the bathroom area where I had no feeling of anything in there, and went back out the bathroom to the first bedroom on the right. As I was approaching into the bedroom, I felt like if I had sucked all the air like this in my chest, that's all I could do, and take pictures of the room, feeling a draw to a certain picture in the bedroom. It's an older picture. As I come out of the bedroom, I didn't feel any particular feeling or any particular way. Proceeded through the house, didn't have any more feelings. Come back out, it's just that threshold going from the hallway to the living room area and that little bit of space where I had the issue.
So we can use this to talk to you if there's someone here. Can you try to tell us your name? If you tried to say your name, can you say it again? Sometimes it's hard for us to understand.
Yeah, you're trying to speak with us. Can you tell us if you're human? Are you a human spirit? Is there something that you want us to know or something we can help you with?
Were you ever badly injured or hurt? If so, how? Tell me about the time you were most scared in your life. Sounds like heaven. That's part of the song.
That was really clear though.
That was.
If I would just play that word of one song.
Yeah. Kind of ironic.
In the situation.
Right. Yeah. Sure. All right. So I think we'll venture back outside, hand this over to the other group, and see maybe what they get. There was a piece, what sounded like a piece of a song that came through after we said what happened to you, and it said heaven, and it was very clear. It was one of the clearest things that came through the entire time we were in there with the spirit box, which seemed kind of ironic because, like Megan said, the chances of that one word coming through from the song in the time that we were sitting there listening and the spirit box actually hit that station just kind of seemed ironic. It seemed pretty...
There was no static either.
Yeah, too much of a coincidence. Yeah, so it was just kind of strange.
Okay, I'm back in the house with Jack, and the other team just came in and did a spirit box session. So what we're going to do is an EVP session, and we have the EMF detector going here in the hallway, and down at the end of the hallway is a motion light. So if that lights up, we know someone or something passed in front of it. What happened to the kitchen that used to be attached to this house?
Hello, my name is Jack. I just want to find out what your name is. I got this here recording on. It should be able to pick you up. Just need to know your name and why you're here. And if you go down the end here, there's a light on the floor. If you mind maybe passing over it, it should light up for you. Let us know that you're here. We'd like to know who you are and what your name is, why you're here. So what's your business here?
How old are you? I'd like to know who you are and what your name is. Why you're here.
So Jack and I, we went inside and we did an EVP session. We set up a motion light. Nothing tripped the motion light. We still have to review the EVP session. We're going to do that out here. But one thing I want to note is that I was able to kind of pinpoint what one of the sounds was that I heard on the previous EVP session. I heard this kind of a squeaking type sound right before Linda mentioned the hallway. Now when we were in there this time, I heard that sound again, and it was clearly the dog. There's a dog up the hallway in one of the rooms, and he has one of those high-pitched kind of squeaks that he does. So it was definitely the dog, so we can kind of rule that out as being
Right.
anything. But there's still that one little whisper that came in after I asked if you were male or female on the previous EVP session. So we're going to have to take that into the computer and analyze that to see what it is indeed saying.
So what we're doing is we're going to go down the hallway. We're going to take the thermometer and put it next to the door. We're going to do this quietly, but we're going to put it next to the door and see if we can get anything to manipulate the temperature reading on the thermometer. We also have the surface thermometer, the infrared one, so we're going to monitor that kind of closet door area and see if there's any temperature fluctuations at all. There's been no temperature change. The humidity level has been steadily dropping, which is understandable because there's air conditioning inside the house and it's like, hot as hell out there. But we're also disturbing the dog that is inside the mother's room and she's asleep. So I don't want to do too much more down at the end of the hallway.
This is pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent? Yeah. Yeah. No temperature change.
Nope.
So we were out here while the team was inside trying to get the entity to manipulate the thermometer. We're out here analyzing the EVP session, and there was one other interesting note. At the second EVP session, we heard what sounded like a faint melody playing in the background. Now the interesting thing was I didn't hear this with the naked ear, but I asked immediately after that, what's your favorite song? So I'm not sure why I had the inclining to ask that question. But it's interesting. We're definitely going to have to take it in the computer along with the other possible EVP that we have and see if we can amplify it and see if it is indeed something.
Yeah.
What we're going to do now is we're going to go inside, and one of the main reports is that she sees this light anomaly in her house. And there's a couple of mirrors in there and such. We're going to use a flashlight to see if we can replicate this light, to see if there's a possible source that could be a reflection from one of the mirrors. Reflecting from one of the mirrors or something like that. So we're going to go in there and kind of play around with the lights and see if we can replicate this light anomaly. Is there any significance to this mirror?
Actually, it was given to us by a neighbor down the street.
Oh, really? Because I'm almost wondering, this light obviously isn't shining up that way, but I'm wondering if you see it right there, right?
Yeah.
Right about there?
Mm-hmm.
And it's much brighter than this, of course. But I'm almost wondering if it's emitting from this mirror, if it's something coming through the mirror. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, because there's no light source back there that would reflect in the mirror bright enough to cast that light. But mirrors are often described as being portals, sometimes having attachments to them.
Well, that's what this thing looked like. It looked like it was just coming through the wall, coming through there.
And that you didn't see anything in the mirror though, right?
No, I mean, I went to the blinds behind you, and I tried, waving my hands in front of it. Nothing was cast. And when it started out, it was about this size. Within a matter of minutes, it came to this, and then it looked like a cowboy hat or something, and then it just, the brightness of the light, like I said, it would have to be literally coming from a big Chevy pickup with a big headlight like that shining right up there, and there's no vehicles or anything that can park back there.
Right, and then of course if it was coming from this way and you're here in front of it, that would obviously cast a shadow. So it would be, so it had to be, whatever it was, it had to be manifesting.
And right on the other, that's next to my cross, and on the other side, there's bless this house and all who enter. And
Right.
I was, like I said, this light was off, that light was off, and I'm sitting here using my cell phone, and all of a sudden it just illuminated, the whole room illuminated, because the sun had started to go down already. When I was watching TV, kept feeling like I was being watched. I felt uneasy. I would feel almost like adrenaline, almost panic, but not quite. And my hands would just get so hot. And I kept looking over there, and I was like, oh, you're just being ridiculous. You're tired. You know, just leave it alone. I tried to concentrate on the TV, could not be done. And I started videoing it. And it was this smoky mass right there where the hallway is and the door.
And that confirms you said you were feeling something over there as well.
Yeah, like I can feel it now. Like my chest is not as tight, but I'm more so like if I were to take one step further in, like my chest would immediately get very tight and feel like I'm breathing very dense air.
Yeah. It's like like I said, I could be like practically falling asleep on the couch by 8 o'clock, and then all of a sudden, I get this like adrenaline from, I don't know, out of nowhere. I had it when you all were standing here, but I felt it was deeper in the hallway. Like the first closet, I'm not afraid of, but the second one, I don't go in it, and I've got things in there, but I won't go down that hallway when it's dark. And if I do for anything, I turn the light on, and it's just a very heavy feeling when you get to the second closet.
So we were taking a look at the photograph or the painting that's up here. It's kind of an interesting painting. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the decor. This is obviously a younger girl's bedroom. It doesn't really fit with any of this, and it almost looks, well, it does look very vintage, very antique, or very old. Very well done painting, might I add, but I can't quite figure out what it is about this painting that feels a little different. Missy was the one who called my attention to it. I hadn't really paid much attention to the painting, but she said there was something about that picture that was seemed significant to her. So, not sure what it is, but it is an interesting painting.
The picture taken by the resident revealed a light anomaly that the team was unable to duplicate. The light did not appear during the course of the investigation. No audio or video evidence was captured. The apparent melody was revealed to be the motor on a fan at the end of the hallway. The fan was left on throughout the investigation in an attempt to recreate the atmosphere at the time of the sighting. No recorded deaths were found in reference to the kitchen fire. The apparition of the woman is believed to be residual, and it was suggested that the bright light was possibly an angel.